We're going to call the meeting of the Wyomissing Zoning Hearing Board to order. We're here today to hear from Jason and Lisa Hurlman, owners of the property located at 1404 Cleveland Avenue. They're requesting a variance from section 424 area yard height regulations. Property is located in the R2 suburban residential district. Single-family detached dwelling is currently present at the property. The property measures 11,325 square feet and is non-conforming for the minimum lot size of 12,000. The property has frontage along both Cleveland Avenue and Forest Avenue and therefore meets the definition of a corner lot. The property is bordered by a residential parcel on its side property line and an alleyway on its rear property line. The side and rear property lines have been designated by the zoning officer. According to the plot plan provided with both the zoning permit application and zoning hearing board application, the applicants are proposing to place a detached pavilion gazebo structure in the rear of the property. The plot plan lists the structure setback as 4 feet from both the side and the rear property lines. Section 424 of the zoning ordinance requires a minimum side yard setback of 15 feet for all structures. The proposed structure will encroach 11 feet into the required side yard. Section 602.1.a of the zoning ordinance requires a minimum rear yard of 5 feet for accessory structures. The proposed structure will encroach 1 foot into this required setback. Borough Zoning Hearing Board Secretary Manager has been made aware of a professional survey which suggests the proposed structure will be 5 feet from the side and rear property lines. If verified, the proposal would comply with the rear yard setback. Relief related to the side yard setback would still be required. Applicants should provide copies of the survey for the zoning hearing board and zoning officer's review. In lieu of the survey, the applicant should seek relief from section 602.1.a in addition to section 424. The proposal appears compliant with all other zoning requirements. Okay, before we begin, introduce the people at the table. Michelle, you all probably know. John Larkin is a new member of the board as an alternate for the time. This is his first time here. Najla Batish is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. I'm David Rothmel. I'm the chairman of the Zoning Hearing Board. This is Dan Becker, our counsel, and he is assisted by Julia Adams. Sorry, Julia, I should know that. And Jeff Hogue is here. He is the residential zoning officer. And Bob Ullman is in the box. So as long he never gets out of it. We don't know why. We expect to meet him one day, but right now he's just in the box. So, Mr. Becker, please tell us how we're going to proceed today.
Thank you. The procedure for today is this. Mr. Holman, it's your burden of proof. That means you have the opportunity to present evidence to us, and that could be in the form of documentary evidence and plans, as well as testimony that you can present to the board for their consideration to determine whether the relief you're requesting should be granted or not. What will happen is you'll have the opportunity to call witnesses if you have any, and to provide testimony yourself. That'll be done as a sworn testimony, and you'll see that the young lady sitting across from me is the stenographer. She's taking down this transcript for this entire hearing. I also will note for the record that I see that Chris Mubdy is here. I believe he's representing a neighbor for this particular matter. So what will happen is you'll have the opportunity to present your case. Mr. Mubdy will have the opportunity to ask questions and cross-examination, as will I and any of the board members. After all your testimony is completed, Mr. Mubdy will have the opportunity to put on testimony from his witness, if they desire to do so. After, you'll have the opportunity then to also ask and cross-examine them as well. After all the testimony has been completed, the board will typically go into an executive session where we deliberate to make a determination as to whether or not the relief you asked or requested should be granted. Do you understand how we intend to proceed today?
I do.
All right. So, Mr. Mubby, do you have any questions about how we intend to proceed?
I do not.
What I will ask is if you just enter your appearance right now into the record.
Chris Mubdy from the law firm Masana Bradley, here representing Diana Kogan, 1410 Cleveland Avenue.
Okay. So, Mr. Mubby, are you asking for party status for your client?
We are.
All right. So what that means is what Mr. Mubby has just asked for is party status. That means that they'll have the opportunity to ask all those questions on cross-examination, present their own evidence, and they'll have the opportunity to file an appeal if they don't like the outcome of the decision. Do you have any objection to Ms.
Cogan?
Kogan, thank you very much, being granted party status?
No.
Okay, all right, so thank you, then we will proceed in that manner. And what we'll do is we'll start out by turning it over to Mr. Hurlman.
Yes.
So you can present.
Dan,
Yes, sir?
before you start, I have something I have to put on the record.
Okay,
I don't know Jason Earlman, but I do know and have represented members of his family. I don't believe that would be a conflict, but I wanted to put that out there.
so let me ask you this, Bob, do you think you can act fairly and unbiased manner?
Without any question.
Okay,
And I have no objection.
Mr. Mubby has no objection, so I think we'll proceed with you as one of the members of the board. I assume, Mr. Hurlman, you have no objection to it?
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
That's fine.
thank you very much. All right, so then why don't we proceed, and you can, what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask you to be sworn. Mr. Mubby, are you gonna have your client?
Briefly, I think.
So what we'll do is we'll have her sworn at the same time, and Michelle as well. Oh, I'm sorry, and also I think we'll have your folks as well. So if all of you can just raise your right hand, face the stenographer, and she'll swear you all in.
I just have the spelling of your name, please.
My last name, C-O-G-A-N.
Thank you. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right,
Mr. Hurlman.
Okay, so we're certainly looking for a variance. So the first thing I have here is there was a picture up there of the variance. I don't know if anybody has you guys have copies, but so I'm making sure everybody has. This is the survey plot plan. This is different than the yeah, you have a copy of it. Than the plans that were originally submitted.
so Mr. Herman, this is the one that was submitted.
Yes.
Is this the correct version that I have here?
Correct. This is the same.
All right,
Yeah.
so, and this was part of your application, is that correct?
No, I sent this to Michelle after we got the survey done, completed last week.
Okay,
Sent
so,
her the copy.
so I'm just asking for purposes of marking it, we'll mark this as applicant's exhibit number one.
Yeah.
So if you want to just make sure that Mr. Mubby also has a copy of that.
Yes. Yes, we're good. There you go. Yep. Did you get a copy as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. She's probably the most important person.
Did you say this is out?
A1.
Thank you.
You guys want two?
I'm taking extra for Michelle.
All right. So that's number one. So also here I have our, I guess exhibit 2, this is not submitted. These are pictures of the backyard and the inside of the yard. So as we talk about some of the points that I have, you have a visual, which I think sometimes pictures are worth 1,000 words.
All right, so we'll mark these as applicant's exhibit 2, A2. And, Mr. Hellman, how many photographs are there?
There are,
Looks like 5.
yes, 5.
So, okay, so we'll mark these as A2, and then we'll mark them A, B, C, D, E.
Yep. Oh, yeah, short one.
That's okay.
Just
Right.
have one.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so, part of, there's two variance requests that are on the sheet here. One of them I just wanna put to bed, right out of the gates, and that is that, if you're looking at the, surveyor, and you point so that the symbol's at the bottom, you got the blue is to the right, top right, that's the alley down there, and the setback from the alley, the code is 5 feet. And if you look here, it is 6 feet, and the red one to the right, it says 6 feet from the wall. So that should satisfy the setback of 5 feet from the alley.
I correct you, Mr. Hurlman, it says 6 feet from the alley, it's not the property line, not 6 feet from the wall.
Well, the property line is, and the end of the wall is one and the same.
Okay.
And
just so-
according, if you look at the picture that has the wall there, you can see the pictures that I handed out there. In pictures, I don't know. So in picture 2, in the second page, picture at the bottom shows you the wall, and it's kind of is, the end of the wall is the beginning of the alley.
So just for clarification, so in A2, it's the last picture, A2E, that's the stone wall that you're referencing?
Correct.
And the backside of that wall is the edge of the alley.
That is correct.
So that wall is, it's saying is about 2 feet?
Well, it's, the fence sits about a foot in from the inside portion of the wall, and the wall is about 12 inches deep.
Okay.
So, so in the picture provided by the diagram provided by the surveyor, you can see there that it's measuring out 6 feet from the wall is the setback, which is the property line.
So we have to get clarification from the zoning officer to see whether or not that satisfies that concern. And we can talk about that. So
Okay.
maybe we should do it right now, just so
Yeah.
to make sure we have evidence. So Jeff, you've been sworn.
I have.
So what Mr. Hurlman is saying is that he does not believe that they'll need relief because based upon the measurements of 6 feet to the property line is going to satisfy that requirement. Do you agree with that?
I do, yep, having seen this survey now, I concur.
Okay, so that relief will no longer be needed.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Mubby, do you have any questions regarding that position?
I do.
Okay, thank you very much. So, okay, we get that, so that won't, you're withdrawing, I assume you're withdrawing the request for relief for that section
For that section, that's correct.
of the zoning ordinance for which you were
That is
requesting relief in your application.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So you're proceeding then just on the one variance?
Yes.
Okay, so, please proceed.
So the side yard variance is 15 feet. Originally on the application, we had put 4, because that's what the diagram, the original diagram, I think we had that up there, which it had was the color one, had 4 feet. So after doing the survey, the side yard is 6.34 feet from the end of the wall. Again, when you're looking at the pictures that I provided on page 1, the top picture and the bottom picture, all representative pictures of the side in question of the setback from the neighbor's yard. So the setback from the end of the wall, which is also the property line, right there.
So,
And right
so,
there.
so remember, we're gonna have, this is all being transcribed.
Yep.
So you have to kind of really try to explain it by words. So we're looking at exhibit A2, and then the top one, A and B, the top one being A, the lower one being
That's
B.
correct, yeah.
You're saying that the measurement from the proposed pergola will be 6.34 feet to the property line, which is coincident with the edge of the wall?
Correct,
So the wall is right along the property line.
that is correct.
How long has that stone wall been there?
19.
Forever since the.
49.
zoning.
Oh, okay.
The house was built in 49, and from my understanding is the wall was built shortly thereafter.
Okay, so it was original.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So originally, so I just for clarity purposes, the 4 feet is now 6.34, which is still not in compliance with, we still need a variance of 8.62 feet on that side. So that's number 1 and 2, I guess. So my third point is that the wall, as you can see, we inherited this property. You can see the height of the wall, which is in picture, the last page, which is picture number 5, shows a tape measure on the edge of the wall, which shows the neighbor's house there, where the height of the wall is 4 feet. And the height of the fence that sits on top of the wall is 6 feet. So we're talking about a 6 foot or 10 feet high from the ground level as it extends upward. So as we go upward, I think that is a unique situation in our area that creates a unique circumstance. Yes, sir.
Did you build the fence?
We put the fence in, yes.
Okay, when was that?
Earlier this summer, we had some very old bushes that were hanging out, and we received a letter from the borough that the trash trucks were having problems getting by. And they needed to be dealt with, so we took them down. They were also a little bit of an eyesore, so we believe that putting up the fence also helped to improve the aesthetics.
And there was no
nature.
zoning issue with the fence?
No, nope, nope. So, another part, if you go to picture, page 2, the picture on the top. If you look at if you look at the door, the single door, and then it has the double doors, you can see in there that there's a line where the bricks don't meet exactly, right there. What I'm trying to point out here is that back in the 80s, when I think Dr. McGlynn maybe was the superintendent, he built a replica of garage in front of the old garage and made the old garage into a family room. And what I want to point out is the area in question, which is the back end, the downspout in the back, and then subsequently the downspout in the front, all connect and run to the alley. And the height of the wall only being 4 feet, there needs to be pitched to get the water down. So the positioning of the pergola and putting in the footers, which has to be so deep, they didn't want to interfere with the lines that we're going to do to get rid of the rainwater takeaway. And we have there's one's on the right side, right front, there's another downspout, which is not depicted in this picture. They kind of both go at an angle and meet and each have their own where they deposit into the alley. Obviously, water doesn't flow uphill. Our house lives a little bit on a slope, so everything flows downward towards the alley. So the moving of the pavilion would incur us to have to change all the piping, the underground piping that is existing since 1949, and not when we purchased the house 20 years ago.
You don't have a drawing of where those pipes are.
They did I don't have a drawing because I didn't get that part done, but yeah. But hence in the back of the house, if you look at the picture here, where the graph is, the house, the corner of the house
So we're
is,
looking at A1 at this point?
we're back to looking at this picture right here.
So A1?
Yeah, A1, yes. The corner of the house with the downspout is to the wall is 18 feet and change. And if you look up further, they depicted the 15 feet from the property line to the front of what that red box is. That's a shed. So it's 3 more feet to the corner there, 3 and a little change. And where it is, it runs at an angle down across there so that they could pour those footers.
So if you would, please, Mr. Cronin, on the exhibit that's been marked A1 by the stenographer, if you could just draw on that with what I'll give you as a red pen that would show the approximate location of where the downspouts are
One my copy or
on her copy. No, on the.
Probably.
Okay, so the downspouts are right here. And then there's one all the way up here in the corner. That's not depicted in, do you want me to draw that one too?
Yes,
Okay, so there's one all the way up here. On the
and
front.
then show how they cross the property.
So it comes like this to the alley. And then this one comes down and kind of angles. I don't know exactly, we had them cleaned out because they were clogged. This one comes at a little bit of an angle, it goes like this. And they both deposit into the alley, underground. And that's why the importance of the wall being 4 feet high and having to dig deep to create a footer doesn't interfere with, they didn't want to interfere with the stormwater takeaway.
Okay. Do you know how deep those pipes are?
I do not.
About 4 feet. That would give me
Okay, do you have anything further that you'd like to present to the zoning hearing board?
The only thing I would like to say is that, you know, in terms of like inheriting a property and purchasing this, we do believe that the back of the house is an irregular lot size. It's 100 feet long, across behind the alley by 28 feet deep from the house to the end to the wall. And where the downspouts are, it kind of creates a tough situation in terms of not having to disturb too much. In addition to that, I do think that with the height of the wall, being 4 feet up and then 6 foot fence on top of that creates a situation where if you're down below that, it's less obstructive to the alley or the neighbors in terms of being high. The height, if it were lower to the ground, certainly that would be a circumstance that, you know, I would probably not want it to be that close to my property line. But I think this is a unique situation that's creating where the placement of the patio, the pergola. And I do think it helps to improve the aesthetics of the neighborhood.
Thank you. Anything further?
That's it.
Mr. Mugby, do you have any questions for this?
Just a couple. Good afternoon, Mr. Holman. With respect to stormwater that's coming off the pergola, is there a plan in place to deal with that?
That's already been approved, yes. That's all gonna sit like underneath the center of the, and it's going to be basically,
Is there a gutter system that's proposed on the pergola?
yes.
Okay, will the gutter system run into the existing outlets into the alley?
No, it's not allowed. It has to go into basically a French drain of sorts that's going to be centered in the middle of the patio, underneath that, like, and all the water's, because the whole patio is gonna have drainage all the way around it, and everything's gonna come to the center, to that area and collect there and then slowly disperse, so that none of that water sits up against the wall, which would then make the wall a hazard,
Yeah, and
essentially.
understood, and I appreciate that response. That's primarily my client's concern is the stormwater, where that's being directed to.
Yep.
So you are complying, or intend to comply with the borough's stormwater management ordinance, is that
We've
right?
already been approved for the stormwater variance, with stormwater,
And you understand, I believe the borough has an ordinance in place that says water cannot discharge from a structure under a neighbor's property. You
yes,
understand?
100%, yes.
And if the board were to place a condition on any approval that you get, that mandates that water not flow onto your neighbor's property, would you agree to that?
100%, yes.
Any other questions?
Yeah, that's my big concern.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm not, go ahead.
And those plans have been approved by, there's two, it's Kraft and McCarthy. By McCarthy, so there was a whole set of stormwater plans that were for the patio and the proposed pergola that were already approved by the Wyomissing Borough, by the township. They just did ours in reverse. They did that one first, the stormwater, and then they did the property line setback second. Usually it's the other way around. So we've already been approved for that.
Michelle?
So what he's referring to is the borough's stormwater management ordinance requires him, which he has done, to submit a plan that was reviewed by McCarthy Engineering, the borough's engineer, showing compliance with our stormwater management ordinance. There's also an operations maintenance agreement that goes along with that. I have the notarized signed copy in my office, waiting for the outcome of this hearing and any potential relief that's granted. So Mr. Hurleman also understands and has agreed to not only recording that document with the Recorder of Deeds office once this project moves forward, he understands the borough will be out for a 10-year period to inspect the stormwater management facilities he will be required to install on his property to ensure that they are operating correctly, not just now, but for the next 10 years.
Okay.
Michelle, you say that was already executed?
Yes,
And it's just awaiting outcome?
yes. I mean, there's no point in him moving forward with it if the board doesn't grant the relief that he's asking for.
Board members, do you have any questions for this applicant?
I do. Mr. Ehrlichman, the whole point is the location of the pergola close to that property line, and behind that is the concept that all of this is being driven by those underground pipes.
The placement of it, that's
Yes.
correct, yes.
Okay, that's the whole thing right there.
Well, for the, and I'm trying to get to the point, it says be specific when you come to the application. For aesthetic purposes inside, I have these pictures right here, and that's another exhibit where it shows the inside of our house. And it's the only light source for the old garage that became a family room, so I can hand that out. So, we don't have heat in that room in the wintertime except for a wood burning stove. So getting light into our family room is important to us. If we move it and we center it between the two pipes, it takes the light and minimizes it coming into our area based upon where the sun comes. The sun comes up the back of our house and would shine into that, into our room.
So we're gonna mark these as A3, top one being, top photograph being A, lower photograph being B. And so what you're testifying is that if you put the pergola further towards the center of the yard, to increase the side yard setback, you would block the sunlight coming into your house.
That's correct.
And I'm looking at the inside of an old garage, and that's the problem.
So yeah, this was the old garage that was converted into a family room back in the 80s, and then they built an exact replica of that garage in front of it, which is what I was pointing out earlier, where you see the two bricks, the line of the bricks,
Yeah.
where you could see the differentiation there.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
But nobody uses it as anything that's a garage anymore.
Well, we still have a garage, it's just in front of it, and it's full of
Okay.
my 4 kids' stuff.
Anything else? Nothing. I guess we understand what's going on.
Just wanna make sure, Mr. Mudd, did you have any further questions?
I just wanna ask Ms. Tobin a few questions.
Okay, we'll go over
very
that.
briefly.
Any further questions for this witness?
No.
Okay, all right. Good.
Ms. Tobin, you're already under oath. What's your address?
1410 Cleveland Avenue, Wyomissing, Quebec,
And where is that in relation to the property that we're here discussing today?
right next door to the Hurlman's property.
And how long have you lived there?
I've lived there for over 20 years, 19 plus.
Okay. Can you explain to the board sort of your concern with respect to the placement of the pergola?
Yeah, I was just concerned with water coming onto my property and damaging something because you're taking away a lot of like ground that would absorb water when it rains and stuff. So that was my concern of where is it gonna go.
And so if the board were to place a condition on any approval today on, you know, preventing water from flowing onto your property, would that satisfy you?
Yes,
Okay. You don't have any objection to the project itself, do you?
no,
Okay, just concern regarding the water, is that right?
Right.
All right. Nothing further.
Okay. Dan?
I'm good. I think we're ready to move on to
All
the
right.
next one.
Yeah, let's.
Well, I guess we should ask Mr. Hellman, do you have any questions for your neighbor?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Let's housekeeping.
Housekeeping. All right, so let's start, Mr. Hope. You're here today in your capacity as the zoning officer, the residential zoning officer for the borough, is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, what are your duties and responsibility in that capacity?
I review and issue permits related to zoning ordinance requirements and review and issue any review any applications to the zoning hearing board regarding variances or special exceptions or things of that nature.
In that capacity, did you issue a letter to the borough that was actually read in the beginning of this hearing about this particular matter?
That's correct.
And do you have a copy of that document with you today?
I do.
And we will mark that as board exhibit number 1. Do you have any other information or documents that you would like to present to the zoning hearing board today?
I do not.
Any other testimony you would like to provide?
Nope.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll go to Michelle. Michelle, you've also been sworn. You're the secretary for the zoning hearing board. In that capacity, what are your duties and responsibilities?
I prepared a public notice that was advertised in the Reading Eagle on October 21st and October 28th of 2024. That same notice was posted on the subject property on October 17th of 2024 at approximately 2:30 p.m. And a copy was mailed to all adjacent property owners located within at least 300 feet of the subject property on October 2nd of 2024 at approximately 12:30 p.m.
And do you have copies of those documents with you today?
I do.
We'll mark those as board exhibit number 2. Michelle, what was the zoning ordinance that was in effect at the time of this hearing?
The one that was printed January 2022.
We're gonna take judicial notice of that, we're gonna mark it as board exhibit number 3, we're not gonna move that into evidence.
Do you want me to also mark and enter the application?
Let's do that, let's mark that as board exhibit number 4, and that will be the application itself. Michelle, when was that submitted to the?
September 17th of 2024.
So, all right, is there anything else, Michelle, that you would like to mark as any exhibits or any other testimony that you present today?
No.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ullman?
I'm here.
Any question, you're here, yeah, good. Any questions?
No, and I understand exactly what's happening.
Okay.
I guess I do have one question. So that I understand it's on the record. Mr. Murphy's client, is she withdrawing her objection, or has she made an objection? And is she withdrawing her objection to what it is that Mr. Hurlman is requesting?
Mr. Roman, I don't know that she's technically objecting. I guess she has a concern. She's not objecting to the project in and of itself. She's just concerned regarding stormwater management and requests that the board, if they are inclined to grant approval, place a condition on any approval that says that water cannot discharge from the property onto the neighbor's property. I think that is in compliance with current borough ordinances and the agreement that Mr. Coleman signed with the borough. So I think it makes sense.
And is Mr. Hurlman, are you all right with that?
Yes.
I have no questions.
You mean now? You already asked one. Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
You've read the stormwater plan, the mitigation.
I have not, that's
You have
not
not?
within my,
Okay, just thought I was gonna put you on the spot and see what you did. Okay, all right, I think we are finished with everything we have at this point, and we would like to go into recess and see if we can reach an agreement, if you all will excuse us.
Thank you.
Yes, can I take your phone call?
Okay, we'll call the meeting of the Wyomissing Zoning Hearing Board back to order. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move that the request of Jason and Lisa Hurlman for a variance from section 424 of the Wyomissing Zoning Ordinance be granted, subject to the terms and conditions to be placed on the record by our solicitor.
And those conditions will be as follows. First one will be no stormwater may be directed or caused to flow from the new improvements of the pergola onto the neighbor's property. Second one will be there must be compliance with all borough ordinances, including repairs to sidewalks as may be required by the borough. Next one is applicants are bound by all then we're going to go to kind of the standard conditions that we do, which are all applicants are bound by all and shall comply with all testimony and evidence produced at the hearing. Next one is to comply with all of the requirements of the borough ordinances, rules, regulations, and codes. Next one is applicants shall use and develop the property in accordance with all federal and state laws, rules, and regulations. Next one is you'll obtain and pay for all permits that are required for the construction of the pergola and the work that will be done on the property. The next one is you will not alter or otherwise expand the property in a manner that's inconsistent with the decision. Next one is implementation of this relief must be commenced within 1 year of the date of the written decision. And then failure to do so could result in immediate revocation of the relief that's granted, and it will be binding upon successors of the signs.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did I hear an aye from there? Yes, okay. The motion is carried, the relief is granted, and this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
very
it.
welcome.